Welcome into Rover Sports right now. This is going to be a podcast on iTunes, but I wanted to talk first with everybody here, and I wanted to welcome everybody in the Rover Sports. Today, I'm going to talk about something that I think is pretty fascinating that not a lot of other people are talking about, and that's that Baker Mayfield, he took a flight, and apparently I'm sitting in a chair that's too small for my own good. But Baker Mayfield, how about that? That even looks better. Okay. Baker Mayfield took a flight from Los Angeles to Indianapolis, and he took it with Sean McVay. He hopped on a flight. He saw Sean McVay was sitting by himself, and he basically sat next to Sean McVay, which apparently you can do. I don't get why all the other general managers don't just take flights with players. But I guess it's not a big deal because the Rams supposedly have Jared Goff, so no one in the free world thinks that they're going to trade for Baker Mayfield. But, and this is just me honestly, if I had a choice between Jared Goff or Baker Mayfield, I'm not thinking twice. I'm drafting Baker Mayfield. Now, I know that Baker Mayfield hasn't played it down in the NFL yet, but if we go back 12 months ago when Jared Goff couldn't get a first down in Jeff Fisher's offense, nobody wanted Jared Goff on their football team. Everybody thought Jared was awful. They thought that he had no talent. They were going to take Carson Wentz over him. Everybody was just ready to move on from Jared Goff. Even the Rams were considering, taking another quarterback. Are you even rolling with Jared Goff or you're not? I mean, this was a guy who was awful just a year ago, and a lot was due maybe to Jeff Fisher's offense, and people will point to, well, nobody can succeed in Jeff Fisher's offense. Well, what I wanted to say about Jared Goff is that Jared Goff had an okay season. I mean, Todd Gurley carried that offense. He had Sammy Watkins, who played pretty well, and he has the best coach offensively in the NFL. I mean, the only other coach offensively that's better is Kyle Shanahan. Sean McVay is the second best offensive coach, and then you can maybe throw Doug Peterson in as maybe the third best offensive coach in the NFL. Although Doug Peterson had Frank Reich and John DeFilippo to help him out. And also, what I was going to say is that, Doug Peterson also has Carson Wentz, Zach Ertz, and he has all these supporting players, but I still put Doug Peterson in my top three. I'm not sure that Doug Peterson can continue to sustain the success that he has had. I think he could be a flash in a pan because he doesn't run the ball as much as Kyle Shanahan and McVay. I think McVay and Shanahan are going to have better careers than Doug Peterson. I'm pretty firm in that belief. Now, here's the thing about the Rams. The Rams, you guys with Jared Goff next year, you have no chance of repeating as NFC West champions. I'm just telling you this right now. The Niners and Jimmy Garoppolo are going to smack you around next year. Jimmy Garoppolo is about 10 times the player that Jared Goff will ever be. Jared Goff can't even lick the feet of one Jimmy Garoppolo. Jimmy's never lost. Kyle Shanahan is just as smart as Sean McVay. And even though Aaron Donald's a good player, even though you have Marcus Peters, who's a problem child, who's a pretty good cornerback, the Rams aren't beating the Niners next year in their own division. So that would mean that the Rams are going to have to win games in the playoffs on the road. And you guys got to host a home playoff game Saturday night, and you hosted an inconsistent team with a terrible offensive coordinator, a team that just barely snuck into the playoffs with an offensive coordinator who has no idea what he's doing. And you went out and you basically vomited on the freaking canvas. You wet the bed in a crazy, crazy way. You completely threw up all over the house, and then you threw up again. Pharaoh Cooper was abysmal. You guys couldn't stop the run to save your damn life. You didn't have the football at all. And now I know you guys in the comment section are going to say, well, it's not Jared Goff's fault. Well, Jared Goff didn't exactly play an unbelievable game. I know Cooper Kupp also played poorly, But looking at Jared Goff this year, I mean, the Rams had a very easy schedule. They played the Colts. They played at the Tennessee Titans. They went to Jacksonville, who I guess is a pretty good team. But you guys also played the Colts week 1, pretty bad team. So just looking here at what the Rams had to deal with, it was a very good season. But the bottom line is that Jared Goff, I would take Baker Mayfield over Jared Goff any day, and I would trade Jared Goff for the 4th overall pick in this year's draft, and I would retain my draft pick, which might be at 23. So you get the 23rd overall pick if you need any offensive line help, and I'd insert Baker Mayfield in there. I don't get all this. I mean, I do get why people love Jared Goff, but the same people that are loving Jared Goff just 12 months ago were hating on Jared Goff. If you watch Jared Goff, the guy has tiny hands. He has minimal arm strength. He has a really long windup, and unless he's hitting guys wide open down the field, he's pretty much ineffective. I mean, Kirk Cousins is twice the quarterback Jared Goff is. And once NFL defenses get their hold on this Sean McVay offense, Jared Goff is going to be tamed and kept in check. It's just like when Dak Prescott went off for a big year. Everybody was all over Dak Prescott, and everybody wanted a piece of Dak and Zeke. But without Zeke Elliott, what happened to Dak Prescott? He looked like a 3rd rounder or 4th rounder last year. He slumped. He didn't dictate play at all. And Baker Mayfield is going to be a tremendous championship winner type of player at the NFL level, a guy who's never failed in his college career. And Baker Mayfield is faster than Jared Goff, has better improvising skills, has a much quicker release, much more competitive, fiery, hates to lose a lot more than Jared Goff. Jared Goff is calm and apathetic and all these sort of things. And Jared Goff has a long release, very slow in the pocket. If you put a finger on him, he's going down. And Baker Mayfield just has a lot more big play potential, has a lot stronger arm, can make more exciting splash plays. And Baker Mayfield would be almost unstoppable with Sean McVay. But instead, what's going to happen is you're going to have Jared Goff there. Sean McVay doesn't really love Jared Goff. He never really handpicked Jared Goff. Jared Goff's upside is very minimal compared to a lot of prospects in the NFL. And the Rams are going to be pretty good. They're going to be pretty good because Wade Phillips is good. They're going to be good because Aaron Donald is good and Ogletree's good and Tremaine Johnson and Joyner and all their players are good. And basically their coaching staff is very, very good. And Les Snead benefits from the coaching staff as well because he was part of the Jeff Fisher group and he's been elevated by a young genius like Sean McVay. So, essentially the Rams are going to be favored to win the NFC West. They're not going to win the NFC West. We're going to be having this conversation in 2 years when the Rams will not win any playoff games at all. Maybe they'll win one and get to the divisional round. I'd be shocked if they're hosting an NFC championship. And if they ever win the NFC, I'll put my hand up and say I was dead wrong. And you could call me a hot take artist because, frankly, if you're not bringing any takes to the table, why the hell would anybody be listening to you? You got to put your neck out there in this business, okay? If you want to be a guy talking sports, we talk sports because it's fun to talk sports. It's fun to argue about things that in the grand scheme of life don't exactly mean life or death. Basically, sports is a hobby. Sports is fun. Sports is where we go to escape the difficult and stressful things of life. It's the toy chest of life. So you could call me a hot take guy, yes. You can hate on Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith, and you can hate on Shannon Sharp, but those guys every single day have to be creative enough to grab attention of millions of people, and those guys make millions of dollars. And it basically, if I were to have a son, a daughter, if I were to have a child, I would tell them that you can go out and emulate these millionaires and talk sports and have a great time and basically enjoy yourself for a living and also come up with creative hot takes. And I really believe this full-heartedly. Like some takes I don't even need to say, like, I believe Carson Wentz is good, or I believe that Saquon Barkley would be a great pick for the Giants and that he's a very good player, or that I believe Trey White was a good rookie pick. A lot of takes, I agree with mainstream media on a lot of things. But I'm going to try to keep it authentic on this channel and on my podcast, and I believe that Jared Goff is supremely overrated. And if you want to win a championship and be special like the 49ers are going to do, why should you just stick with having at the most important position in sports? Why should you overpay a guy that's not Sean McVay's guy that has minimal upside? Because your team, the LA Rams, is in position to do something so special. And you don't want to have the most important position in sports hold you back from achieving and obtaining that goal, which is an NFC West title, but then more importantly, winning games in January and getting to a Super Bowl. And I know that this is all very new for the Rams fans that are out there. This feeling of success they haven't had since Marshall Faulk and the Greatest Show on Turf days. But I supremely believe that Sean McVay, in his heart of hearts, if he was put on a lie detector and he could, and you basically told him you could have Baker Mayfield or Jared Goff, he would take Baker Mayfield over Jared Goff as well. Jared's a nice kid. Jared Goff and I would get along if we did a podcast. If Jared Goff would get upset at this video because I'm insulting him over his play, well, then Jared Goff, unfortunately, probably would get mad at a lot of other people as well. And heck, if Jared Goff proves me wrong, I'll be the first one. I'll be happy to say I'm wrong because the kid couldn't be more likable. The Rams really, they're a likable team. I know I have a lot of Niners fans on here. The LA Rams are a likable team. Sean McVay, Wade Phillips, Goff, Todd Gurley, the guy from Pittsburgh, the defensive player of the year. Aaron Donald is great. I mean, it's a classy, good group of guys that just buy in and do their thing. And they're taking in Marcus Peters. They have a lot of work to be done. But that's just my honest take on the matter. And who knows, if you guys will watch this 12-minute video, you'll leave a comment. Do whatever you do. But I saw the news that Baker Mayfield took a flight with Sean McVay, and I'm sure Sean McVay was thinking that as well, because that's what I was thinking. Trade for the 4th overall pick, trade Goff to Cleveland, and watch Goff do nothing, and then watch Baker Mayfield just flourish. It's a business. You got to make decisions in the NFL. You got to make hardline decisions, and Goff's stock is never going to be higher. That's my honest opinion. I hope Goff is healthy. I'm curious to see how he does. But that's just my honest take on the matter. And you could say, I'm done, I'm unfollowing you, I'm not taking you seriously. Go ahead and do that. Do that, and I'm just going to keep on saying what I think. All right, so I'm taking Mayfield over Goff, and I'm not thinking, again, Les Snead, do it. I would be impressed if you did it. I doubt in a million years you would do it. But, hey, Jared Goff, big season. I just don't